Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this Monday, the 14th of March, 2022. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. Now, what is the convergence? This is what I'm calling this, because there's a number of things out there, dangers, that are all converging at the same time. One of the dangers that's very obvious is war that could escalate out of control. But there's others. We have an enormous food crisis that's in the making worldwide that cannot be avoided. We've got a currency crisis worldwide that's in the making that cannot be avoided. That's potentially enormous. We've got worldwide climatic or weather events that are coming to a head worldwide that cannot be avoided. We've got about 4 or 5 enormous problems out there that are all converging on a point of time just in our future. And when these problems come together, I'm not going to say what they can generate would be an ELE, or what's called an extinction level event. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to say the potential for all of these converging problems to hit simultaneously like an enormous tidal wave, including the possibility uh, of weapons of mass destruction being used at some point in the future. When we look at all these problems together, I can call them the convergence, or a converging of problems. This is an enormously impactful on your way of life and my way of life and everybody out there period in time right now that we're in. A very dangerous period in time. And the funny thing about it is there's a significant portion of the population out there that is clueless. Their lives seemingly are going along pretty much normal of the way they have been. Now, an awful lot of other people out there are being heavily impacted by this. All this happening at the same time. It's a convergence. It's like a convergence in time-space to a particular point not far in our future. Now, see, my personal belief about time-space is I believe that outside this universe, that time is probably linear. I believe that inside this universe, it's like we're inside a container. It's like we are ants inside an ant colony, and the ant colony is our universe. And I believe that time is nonlinear inside our ant colony, so to speak, and that there's some sort of a convergence going on, something really big out there that's bigger than all of us happening with this convergence of problems that are all, I mean, what's the odds of all these problems pretty much lining up to come due at the same time? Anyway, it's just something interesting to think about. But let's get in there and take a look at these markets today and see what they're actually doing. Let's start the charts right here. Take a look now. We're going to take a look at the silver price today, which is down 84 cents. Now, that's a big one-day drop in silver, 25.11. But there's no silver out there roughly to be had. I'm saying roughly. I mean, you might find some, but I'll tell you what I think my personal opinion on silver is that right now they have got to the point where there's only enough silver for industry. This means that bar and coin demand is out of the loop. And up until this point, they've been still supplying bar and coin demand, or retail demand, the retail side of silver. They've been still supplying them, but what they've been doing is like rationing them, giving them, they have to wait, so we got a delivery coming in, it'll be another 3 weeks or whatever, And they've been getting their delivery, but just small amounts, not as much as they want to actually sell into the retail market. So it's been tight, in other words. I think it's going to get shut right off completely. starting about now. And what does that mean? It means you're not going to be able to buy silver from a retail, because I think their supply side is going to be shut off because they need to divert it over to industry. There's only enough for industry now. So for silver out there, we've reached a point where it's going to become difficult, if not impossible, to buy it in a retail, like brand new coins and stuff like that. Now you could probably buy it from somebody who wants to sell, but I don't think there's going to be that many people out there to sell. So we are in the shortage. Oh, it's beginning now. The shortage that I called for years is beginning. Anyway, let's move on and take a look at gold. Gold is now. See this shortage of silver. I'll just go on one more thing and say about it. It's not across the board. Like they're still going to be able to supply industry and stuff. They're going to keep what they're getting out of the mines for industry. So you still will be able to, if you got a company and you're going to be making solar panels, you're going to be making something, and you need silver, you'll still be able to buy that spool of silver. Probably come in a spool or something, and they have it for different types of solder and things like that. You'd probably still be able to get it. But I think if you want to buy a bunch of coins, silver coins, that's where it's going to get difficult, especially new ones. You can buy off somebody who's got some, I don't know. 1958 for gold is down $33, which is quite a big drop for gold, too. Let's take a look at cryptos today. 1731 in billions, with a Bitcoin price of 38,919. Let's take a look at the Dow today. The Dow is up 215 points at 33,159. Now, I'm going to talk about something else for a minute here. I know you guys have heard me say it in my previous shows, and this goes back a few months. My loyal subscribers out there, my viewing audience, you've heard me say that if the big crash doesn't come by the end of March, I was giving it the first quarter. Now, I said this way back last year. I said if it doesn't come by March, the end of the first quarter, then the conditions for it to happen are probably not going to be there, because we're going to be moving into the hyperinflation too fast at that point in time for the big crash to happen. In other words, the stock market can hyperinflate. And you ask, well, what does that mean, a stock market hyperinflating? It means that the stock market has become unhinged with the dollar, and it's moving up. Some of the best performing stock markets in the world have been in hyperinflating currencies. Doesn't mean that your market's worth more. It just means that the market's moving up because it's priced in dollars, and the dollar's becoming worthless. So, giving it to the end of March here, which is only a couple weeks away, and this big crash in the stock market that everybody's expecting, well, we're going to get a massive amount of people that are going to be starting to dump the dollar pretty soon. Because it sets a thing in motion where people lose faith in the purchasing power of the fiat currency. And so what happens is they start to dump it for anything that they can get, goods, services, anything. It's called a hyperinflation. It's the term for it is a crack up boom. Heading head first into a crack up boom, and in a crack up boom and a hyperinflation, this stock market could go to 100,000. But then again, you got to understand that so can gold and silver. I mean, you can get to a point where the gold, 1 ounce of gold buys the market. A 1-to-1 basis, Anyway, we're looking at 33,148. Let's take a look now at crude oil. It's down $7.11. That's a big drop in crude price. But will we get that drop at the pump? I doubt it. They probably won't even drop it a penny. So crude oil dropped $7 a barrel, which is over almost 7%. Almost 7% drop. Now that's what they're getting. That's what these guys buy is a barrels, and then they convert it into. Now they got the price up at the pump. Just see how much they drop at the price at the pump. Probably won't drop it any. Well, what that means is once they get you paying a higher price, they don't like to bring it back down again. They want to keep you paying the higher price, and that means more profits for them. That means less money in your pocket, because this is a corrupt system. And this is basically the system is running like a criminal enterprise at this point. The entire system. And this is one of these problems that I talk about in this converging of problems, is that we got a corrupt system. Completely and utterly corrupt. Where the higher ones on the food chain are gobbling up all the food and letting the ones on the lower end of the food chain starve. Ain't going to share any of it with you. They're going to keep it all for themselves because they're a bunch, like I say, they're just going to get fatter and fatter and richer. While the poor get poorer and poorer and poorer. In the end, where does this lead ultimately? Is the poor guy starves to death, and the rich guy, he won't even let you have his table scraps because it's so corrupt. Let's take a look now at the MOVE index. 99.03, and she's come way back down again. She was up to 133. She's come back down under 100. Something's going on, guys. Something's going on. The crisis was driving the MOVE index up massively. They were scared of everything. And now all of a sudden something's going on with this war. Behind the scenes. I mean, take a look at it. The Russians over there in Russia. They don't know what the hell's going on. They've cut off the internet to them. They can't get any information. The only information they get is from their government itself. And they don't know what in the hell's going on. They think that this is some sort of special military operation. And also they see these big long lines at their banks, and they don't know what's going on. They don't know why food prices doubled in just a few days. And they're like, what the heck's going on? The average Russian, I think, and they don't know. They are like clueless. They're not getting the information in that you're getting it over here. But our information that we're getting over here is corrupted too. They're not telling us everything. And it's almost, I'm not going to say it's as bad as the Russian information, but our information is being corrupted over here too. And they're giving you a skewed story on this side. And when you think about it, this is what they need to do. In order, because the people of Earth don't want wars. And this is what they've done all the way through history. They lead you to war on propaganda. And it was easier to control the flows of propaganda back in times gone by, and to get the people stirred up and to get them to fight one another. It was a lot easier back in times gone by. Now what we got is media that moves across the internet at the speed of light. And it's very hard for them to maintain control over that. But by gosh, they're trying so that they can manipulate us. It's all a manipulation because this system has actually been corrupt for thousands of years. But we're reaching this culmination of corruption. I love it. The culmination of corruption. That just rings, doesn't it? The culmination of corruption. That's what we're in right now. The convergence of all of the problems created by the culmination of corruption. I love it. That just sizes it right up into a nutshell. They're destroying us. And we're sitting here and we're paying them taxes to destroy us. They're destroying us. And they're destroying the world. And it's just a few. There's only a few of them. But the masses out there, they're just sitting there looking at their cell phones and going on their TikTok and everything else, and they're so absorbed in what they're doing, they're not paying any attention over to these corrupt ones who are just basically destroying our world right in front of us. But there comes a point Well, they have to wake up from their TikTok or whatever because it's not there. Because maybe the power's gone out at that point. And they're like, what's happened? And they're like the people in Russia. They don't know what's happening either. People just, if you're not in the loop. I mean, you're cut out of the loop and you don't know what's going on. All of a sudden the world's in crisis and you don't know why. Anyway, bonds and rates today. Oh, we're looking at a substantial rise in yields today. This is pretty big, you know. We're looking at a 10-year rise in almost 11 basis points to 2.11. That's a big rise in yields. 30-year up to 2.46. It's up almost 10 basis points. Bonds are popping today. They're really going up. But the market's not going down. Everything's topsy-turvy right now. And there's stuff in the financial system going on behind the scenes that they're not letting us know, and I don't know about it, but I can see it reflected in these movements. They're keeping everything on the QT now. They're not telling us the truth on anything. They're a bunch of liars and a bunch of scoundrels, but they're controlling the narrative, and what they're doing is they're not letting us in on anything of what's really going on out there. But you can see the effects of what's going on. Kind of like the Russians. Russians don't know what's going on, but they can see the effects that there's something going on, but they just don't know what it is. Yeah, they know a few points. They know that there's a special military operation going on. They know food prices are going through the roof. These are the obvious things that you can see. And this is the way with these financial markets. We're seeing the obvious movements in the financial markets, is what I'm seeing. But I don't know what's causing them because the media out there in the West here has been corrupted as well, and they're not telling us what's going on. They're not giving us the real the real story on it. Why the MOVE index is falling off right now like that from 130. What, did suddenly all the world's problems just get solved? I don't think so. Something's happening. Okay, let's take a look at the dollar index today. 98.7, and the dollar index is down a little bit, but it's falling today, but it's not falling significantly. This is the most frustrating period in time, too, because you can't get accurate information anywhere. You're having to sort through a whole bunch of BS that's created by these elites or this corrupt system that's basically trying to control your minds as well. I'm trying to sort my way through all this garbage too, just like you guys. It's not easy. What you get on here on my show is my opinion on stuff. But my opinion even is affected somewhat by all of this corrupt media out there that's maybe giving me the wrong idea because they are twisting things. And you guys, you're trying to filter through it too, and maybe we can all filter through it together and figure out what's really going on out here, but there's something really big and nasty in the works. And coming right this way and soon. Because the closer we're getting to this convergence of problems that I talked about earlier in the show, the more they're going to skew the media. And so that it's going to hit all of us and we're not going to know where it come from. Because the media out there is a bunch of liars that are all connected in with the big shots who are pulling the strings. And they are basically, like I said, a criminal enterprise. And so we're in big trouble, guys. And you want to try to prepare for it as best you can, wherever you are in the world. I know it's not easy because we could very seriously, in the very short-term future, we could have food shortages out here, right in the first world. Half of the grocery store be empty, sort of thing, and then you go in through the doors and they say, "Oh, sorry." You say, "Well, I want to buy 4 cartons of eggs today," and they're going to ask you, "What do you want them for?" You can only have one. 12 eggs, that's all you're going to get. The guy says, well, I got to do this or that. And they say, no, sorry. And they're gonna stop you at the door and ration it to you. Like we're in some third world country that's going into poverty even. Not even in a normal third world country. It's going to be like we're in a third world country that's going into a banana republic that's going into a hyperinflation. Just going to wake up one morning and everything is changing so fast. What we want in this world is stability. And they ain't giving it to us. They ain't going to give it to us. They're going to squeeze us tighter and tighter and tighter with no stability in our lives. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. And you guys are the most stable things out there, most stable part of the ecosystem. You guys are great. You really, honestly, every single person in my audience probably out there deserves a medal because you're out there trying to figure all this out just like I am, and we're all in this together. And quite seriously, the ones who are the ones who are don't deserve a medal, the ones that deserve to be marched off to Alcatraz, are these guys who are doing this, who are manipulating everything and making an unstable environment for us. Catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.